So let's also implement filters inside our store. And I will start by refactoring this filter component that we have. I want to make these filters a little bit more dynamic. So inside here, let's create a data property, and we have to return an object. And here I will have an array of filters where every filter will be an object. So for example, let's have a name here, and we can copy the filter from here. We will also have key here, which will be rating, and we will have order, which will be descending in this case. And let's copy this a couple of times. And we are missing a comma, so let's add it here. So this will be rating lowest, and we just have to invert this order. We have year oldest, so, or newest actually, and we have year oldest here. And let's just change this to ascending, and let's also change this to year here. Okay, so what I also want to do, well, I want to loop here these filters now. So let's add a v-for and filter in filters, and we also have to bind a key. And you can actually bind an index, because we don't have, I mean, we have unique names, but still I'd rather bind an index. So here we can pass this index to make our view happy. So inside, well, let's just display the name of our filter. So filter.name. Let's save, and let's just confirm that we have the same behavior. Okay, that's nice. So then back here, I want to add a onClick listener here. And whenever I click on this filter, I want to call a apply filter method that will send this filter down to that method. And let's now collapse this, and let's create methods here. And let's add this apply filter method, which accepts a filter. And then we will dispatch an action on our store that we haven't yet created, but we will add it right now. So dispatch, it will be filter, and then here we just have to pass this filter down. Okay, so inside movies, well, we have to create another constant, and I will call this set filter. Let's add another state here. Let's add an object filter, and here we can set some default order. I will add key to be rating, and I will add order to be descending. And let's move this down here. So we will need another mutation. Let's copy this one, and let's just change this to filter. Also here. And we will also need another action here. We can also copy this old action that we have. It will be filter, and here we are sending filter, filter here, and also filter here. Now I want to filter our getter here, the result that we are returning. So let's remove this line from here, and I want to call .sort method that we have built inside JavaScript, and this sort actually takes in a function. So let's create a custom compare function that will actually compare all the values inside this movies array and sort them appropriately. So this function will accept key and order from our filter, and it will return a function that takes in two elements, two movies, that it will compare in pairs. So then here, and well, we have a couple of conditions inside. So essentially we have two conditions. We have a case when A is larger than B, in which case we have to return a positive number. And we have a case where A is lower or lesser than B, in which case we have to return a negative number. So I will create a let here result that is equal to 0. So if result is 0, that means that A and B are actually equal. So anyways, here let's have an if, and I want to check. So also remember that A here is a movie, and on that movie we have a property. So this key here is a rating property, which is a property on this movie here, and these are all the properties that we have on our movies. So inside then here, I want to check if key of A is larger than key of B, and in which case I told you I want to return a, well, not return, but set this result to a positive number. And then in other case, if a key of A is actually lower or lesser than B, I want to return a negative number. Okay. So another thing that I want to do here, I want to check if we actually change this order. So if order is ascending, well, in that case I just want to return result as it is. It is fine to have it order ascending. But in case that we want to have descending order, well, we have to reverse our result here. And we can do that by multiplying result by -1. And then, well, let's call this compare function here, and we can pass in filter, and then actually here we can destructure these two properties. Well, let's save and let's check what we have inside our page here. Well, something is broken. And let's see quickly what it is. Filter is not defined. Okay, so we have to state.filter. So now if we check, well, it works, and seems like it is already ordered based on the highest score. But to be sure, let's reverse the order. Seems to work. Let's order them by year, which also works. And let's order them by the oldest year, which also works. So once again, we have this sort method that accepts a function, and that function, well, it has to compare two elements. And we are always comparing elements in a pair of two. So every element will be compared with every other element inside an array. And we have three conditions. One element can be larger than the other element. One element can be lesser or lower than the other element. And elements can be the same. So we are here checking whether A is larger, whether A is lesser. And we are also checking the order in which we have to order our results. And also, if we, for example, order by rating lowest, we can still search and it will keep this order. So we can still search and filter because we have this chained here, one after the other.